So, completely changed subjects. Biggest threat to America right now, and why?
I think the biggest threat to America is tribalism. I think that tribalism has broken out on the left and the right. People don't seem to care about the truth anymore. They seem to care about whether it helps my side or helps your side. And that is really, really dangerous, because then we can no longer have a conversation. If we can't agree on a common basis of fact, we can't have a conversation in the first place. If you're just going to assume that I'm evil on the basis of my political perspective, then we can't have a conversation. And I'm seeing it both on the right and the left, which is troubling to me, because I always thought that this was sort of an endemic to the left. I didn't think it was endemic to the right. I think that Obama has sort of trolled the right into oblivion, and the right now has become reactionary in response. And so it's, okay, so Trump said something that's not true, but he really screwed with the left's head, didn't he? And so, well, so what? I mean, that's not hard. It's the easiest thing in the world is to screw with the left's head. I mean, that's really not difficult. And on the left, the same sort of thing. You'll see the left say that Trump has proposed a Muslim ban. No, he didn't propose a Muslim ban. On the right, you'll see that people say Trump has proposed. Trump actually had a bigger inauguration crowd size than Obama. Right? A plurality of Republicans believe that by polls. That's silly. Okay, it's not true. And just because you like Trump doesn't make it true. And this basic philosophy, I think, is really dangerous for the Republic as a whole.
What do you think about the whole fake news thing? There's actually a bill in California now where they actually want to create a curriculum in high schools to educate students on what fake news is.
Okay, well, I mean, first of all, the high schools in California should be the last people to teach people. I think that the idea that there are high schools in California may be fake news, but that's but it's, you know, the problem with fake news is mostly that people don't use it to mean actual fake news. Fake news is when you have a story that is legitimately false, right? When you put a story out there that Pizzagate is fake news, right? There's no evidence to support it. The idea that they're running some sort of child whorehouse out of a pizza shop in the middle of D.C., no evidence to back that. That's fake news. It is not fake news to say that Donald Trump is doing better than his detractors suppose, but people will say that's fake news. It is not fake news, by the way, for the polls to report what the polls reported and then get it wrong. That wasn't fake news either. The polls just got it wrong. So I think that on both sides there's been a conflation between news I don't like and fake news, and that's not the same thing. And so this is why I think that the label has lost pretty much all value.
So, North Korea, are we headed to World War III or the status quo of the last 20 years?
I would say more likely the status quo of the last 20 years. I don't think that Kim Jong-un really wants us to wipe him off the map. And that's sort of the next step, right? There's, thanks to Bill Clinton, we have an unpalatable situation there, but I'm not sure that it's going to go anywhere. I mean, the fact is that we don't have the wherewithal, from as much as I can see. We don't have the wherewithal to actually take out the Kim family. We don't have the wherewithal to take out all of the artillery that's now lined up against Seoul at one shot. So that means that he's got 20,000 pieces of ordnance that are pointed at Seoul, which puts several million people in direct danger of death if we should do anything about this. The smartest move that Kim Jong-un ever made, or his father Kim Jong-il ever made, was to develop nuclear weapons, because now it's basically impossible to get rid of him unless we put significant pressure on the Chinese to replace him with somebody else. And the thing the Chinese want less even than the thing that they are most fearful of is the reunification of the Korean Peninsula. That, of course, is what they are most afraid of. So they would rather have a crazy person in charge of that country that they at least have some semblance of control over than a reunified, democratic, and free Korea, which is tragic. But I think that status quo is basically as good as it's going to get, barring some sort of exigent circumstance.